We're going to talk about multiplying and dividing integers in this video. And we know a little bit about multiplying and dividing integers. For example, 4 and 6 are both integers and they're natural numbers or whole numbers. 4 times 6 is 24. If I want to do some division, say 35 divided by 7, that gives me 5. So we know this. Integers, on the other hand, though, they're going to be, they can include negative numbers. And so in the previous video, I defined an integer as positive or negative whole numbers. And that works fine, but mathematicians have slightly more formal way of defining that. So the number -3, for example, mathematicians would define that as -1 times 3, where -1 is this negative unit. And that's going to allow for us to do a lot with numbers in the future. This -1 deal here, if I multiply it by itself, -1 times -1, let's put some parentheses around there so we can be a little bit more comfortable. This is a common trick here, putting parentheses around numbers to make sure that we are paying attention to our signs. It always helps me out, especially if I'm in a rush. It slows me down just a little bit. But -1 times -1 is going to be a +1. And that right there is going to kind of allude to the overall theme for multiplying and dividing integers. And really what we're going to do is we're going to count the number of negatives that we see. And if it's an even number, it's going to be a positive output. And if it's an odd number, it's going to be a negative output. So if I want to look at, say, -4 times 6, I can break that down as -1 times 4 times 6. And we learned about commutative and associative properties in the last video. If I wanted to, I could put parentheses around the 4 times 6, and that's going to give me 24. So it's -1 times 24, and that is -24 for an answer. We don't have to go through all that every single time. As I just said, we can count the number of signs. I have a single negative sign here, and that's an odd number, so I'm going to get a negative output. If I were to look at -4 times -6, well, 6 times 4 is 24. We've established that. And I said -1 times -1 would be a positive. So that's going to give me 24. If I want to throw more numbers in the mix, let's try -4 times 6 times 2. Okay. That's, even though I have 3 numbers here, only one of them is negative. That's an odd number. That's going to give me a negative output. So I can just multiply my numbers together and keep the sign negative. So 4 times 6 is 24. Times 2 again is going to be 48. So it's going to be a -48. -4 times 6 times -2, that's going to be a +48 because I have an even number of negatives. And finally, if I were to make all 3 negative, then I'm going to get 48, but since I have 1, 2, 3 negatives, that's going to be a negative output. Division's not any different, really. Typically, though, when we're dividing, we're only dividing 2 numbers at a time. So it's either positive or negative, but typically you only have, so let's see, 35 divided by -7. I have 1 negative sign. It's going to be a -5. -35 divided by -7. That's 2 negatives. So the output is going to be positive. So again, that's just going to be +5. And that's really all there is to multiplying and dividing integers.